This is a video about how I took an old piano from someone's garage and made this, a stylish piece of furniture to use as a living room desk for an 88-note digital piano or controller, and also it works pretty nicely as a computer desk or music workstation. I'll talk more about the process, how much I spent, and how much I made when I sold it. Hey, I'm Eric, and welcome to the channel. As you know by some of my recent reviews, I love 88-note keyboard controllers and keyboards. And at the time, I was thinking about doing some gigging, and I thought it might be a cool idea to find an old piano that is past its prime and repurpose it as a keyboard stand. This is the 1953 cable piano made in Chicago around mid-20th century. I looked on Facebook Marketplace and found some cheap and free pianos around locally, and I chose this one because of the flat, low top. I thought it might work well as a keyboard desk and a place to put speakers if you wanted to make it be your studio desk. So someone was selling this for $30 just to get it out of the garage. I rented a truck for $36, although there is something to remember about trucks for the next time. So one big problem already. Somebody forgot to check if it has a thing that pulls out to put the piano up on. I didn't. Once I got it home, the first part was to clean it up, vacuum all the nasty bugs and spiderwebs out, and then get to taking the initial parts out that were the easiest. It's actually shockingly easy to pull out the key action from just about any piano. Do not let your kids see this video, or you may come home to find your piano dismantled and pulled out everywhere. Unfortunately, I did not take pictures or videos for every step, but certainly will on my next project. I plan to do 2 or 3 pianos next time at once, and will detail each project a little better. Suffice to say, I got out the action and then the hammer assembly, which looks like this. And both of those were surprisingly simple to take out. So was taking off the side blocks and front pieces of wood and the wood panel over the pedals. Now, the part with any piano that makes it so heavy you can't even take it in and out of your house, is the cast iron harp that holds the strings. Now, I briefly considered leaving it in, and really, if you wanted a piece of art for your living room, even one that you wanted to, say, put a digital piano in, this might be cool for several reasons. One, it still looks like a piano with the harp inside, and even the strings if you want to leave them in. And two, it would resonate through the soundboard as you play the digital piano, and it might make for a bigger sound, so that might be kind of cool. But my goal with this piece was to make a piece of music furniture or a desk that was much lighter and easier to move. Still on wheels, but much less work to move than a piano with a cast iron harp in it. To get the harp out, you're going to have to remove the strings so you can get to the bolts that hold on the harp onto the soundboard. And this is where the hard part comes in. This is pretty cool. It's also a little dangerous. And there's also not a great tool for this, but it's some pretty music. The strings, most of them just pop right off. I've seen video of people who loosen and then clip the strings with wire cutters or even a powered skill saw. I just loosened the bolts and then pulled each string off. The hard part on this piano was that the bolts were kind of rusted and pretty tight. Of course, they had only been in there for 70 years. I ended up using a combination of sockets that kind of fit the bolts and then my drill to get them off. At first, I just untightened them to get the strings off, but eventually decided to take them all out. I was hoping, and Bobby was hoping, that I could take it off without taking off the strings, but that is impossible. In order to get to all the bolts and to get it off there, you have to take these off. So I'm going to continue taking off these bolts and these strings, and then try to take off all the bolts and see if it comes off. Once the strings were off, it wasn't easy to get to the bolts that held the harp to the soundboard. But by using a screwdriver and a pair of vice grips, I got them all off, and then I pulled the heavy harp out with a rope, and then I had my wooden piano shell ready to finish. Here's a look at everything that came out of the piano. The beautiful thing is that many and most of these are recyclable or useful for artsy projects if that's your thing. Even yard art around the house. This would make a nice key or even coat rack. So once I had everything out, it was time for sanding and painting. We had a nice sander, so it was just about buying the sandpaper to rough up the existing but fairly bland finish so I could stain it. I decided to use Minwax Black Semi-Gloss. I'm not much of a painter, but it ended up going on okay with about 3 coats. So here is the finished product. This is a video that I made to try and sell it locally. I'm happy to say I was able to sell it for $400 to exactly the kind of client I was looking for, someone who wanted a nice piece of furniture for their living room to house their keyboard, computer, and small music studio. All in all, I spent about $150, which you can see here, and I made a profit of about $250. We're thinking for the next time we'll just find pianos that people are giving away just to get out of the house and rent a truck to get 2 or 3 at a time to save a little money. I'd like to do more and plan to start when it gets a little cooler outside because this is definitely garage work. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to see our next piano transformation projects. Thanks for watching.